Have you ever wondered who who is the person, who is this person on the dollar bill? His name is George Washington. Well, was George Washington. And today we are talking about the first president of the United States. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to English on Autopilot. And today we are going to learn who was the first president of the United States. His name was George Washington. And he was born in the year 1732. A long time ago. And when George was born, when he was a baby, the United States did not exist. George Washington was born in a British colony. He was born in Virginia. Virginia today, in the year 2025, is a state in the United States. But in 1732, it belonged to the British Empire. So George, was he American? Well, not really, because America still did not exist. When George was young, when George was a young boy, when he was young, he grew up on a farm. The farm was filled with animals like horses and chickens. And around the farm, there was a lot of nature. Like trees, of course, lots of trees, and lots of grass. And George worked very hard. When he was a boy, he was very serious. He wasn't silly. He wasn't silly. No, George was very serious. And his family, his mom and his dad, they did not have a lot of money. No, they did not have a lot of money. And George did not go to a fancy school to learn and study. No, George learned by himself. A lot of what George Washington learned was from books, about math, and of course, science and politics, and politics. George learned through books. He even read books about manners, how to be polite. George should have watched my video on what is polite and impolite in the United States. Oh, George. George grew up to be very smart, very serious, and hardworking. And this would be very important to the creation of the United States. Before George became president, the leader of the United States, he was first a soldier. And he fought in 2 wars. The first war he fought in was the French Indian War, where George was a British soldier. He first fought for Britain. The second war George fought in was the American Revolution. Was in the American Revolution where the United States wanted to break apart from England. And George was a very, very good soldier. The other soldiers listened. They listened to George and they looked up to George. They respected him. He was a good leader. And the soldiers, they followed George. They followed him. And George, he became the commander-in-chief. He was the number 1 in the army. He was the most important person. Everyone listened to George. During the American Revolution, the soldiers were tired. The army was very small and they did not have a lot of money. Many soldiers did not even have boots. They did not have boots on their feet. No, they were very poor. But George was very inspiring. He said, "We can win. We can do it." And the soldiers, they believed in George. They knew he was right. And the Americans won the war. The people, they wanted to make George, they wanted to make him the king of the United States. But George did not want to be the king. George said, "I did not fight in a war to have a king." No. George did not want the United States to be like England and have a king. Instead of the king, George became the president. of the United States. And what George did was very important because other presidents did what George did. For example, George served 2 terms. In the United States, 1 term is 4 years. He served 2 terms. And after 8 years, he stopped being the president. He gave up the power. He gave it away. Because George, he thought the power of the United States belongs to the people, not to the president. Later, this 2 terms became a law, and presidents could not serve more than 2 terms. 3 terms was illegal, was against the law, thanks to George. Since George was the first president, he had to create a lot of rules. There were no rules. He was the first. And this was very important to creating America and why America is a country today, thanks to George. Something interesting about George is he had no children. George and his wife, Martha, had no babies. And George, his teeth, well, people think he had teeth made of wood from a tree. People think his teeth were made from wood. But that is not true. His teeth fell out. But the fake teeth, not real teeth, the fake teeth were made from ivory and metal. Now you know. Also, George, he loved dogs. He loved dogs. And now we still follow the rules that George created. The presidents still listen to what George said and did. When we have a new president, the president takes an oath. He places his hand on the Bible and he makes an oath. He swears to protect the people, to serve the people, to put the people first. Thanks to George, who was the first to do it. Now you know who was the first president of the United States and who is on the $1 bill. Did you know who George Washington was? Tell me, what else do you know about him in the comments below? And who else you want me to talk about? Other famous Americans. Don't forget to subscribe to keep watching videos of Comprehensible Input right here with English on Autopilot. We'll see each other. in the next video. Bye.